Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am super excited this evening for Leadership Live, week 15. And for those of you all who are like, who are you, lady? Who are you? I am Dr. Renita L. Webb, and I am super excited to be with you here for week 15 of Leadership Live 2021. Who is Dr. Renita? I know you're just wondering, but for those of you all who don't know me, I am an educational leadership strategist. I am a coach. I do leadership coaching one-on-one. I do trainings, yes, full group trainings. I am a speaker. I am the author of Stepmom Trials, Tribulations, and Triumphs, editions 1 and 2, as well as While You Are Sleeping, the Perfect Children of All Ages book and the perfect bedtime story. I am a wife, a mother of four. I own two kids and I birthed two kids, hence stepmom. Two of them I own. I fed them long enough. I own them kids. And two I birthed. They mine. They don't have a choice. I am a minister. I am the founder of The Refining Life, whose mission is to provide experiences so that you can have your mindset shifted and lead a more positive and productive life. And I am so excited to be here with you again this week. Once again, we are in week what? 15. And no exception to the rule. I have yet another amazing leader here with me this evening, and look, we're just going to have a real good discussion about resilience. If you don't know what resilience is, honey, it's that thing that you have to do when you are pushing through, even when foolishness is all around you. And let me just bring her on in here. Let me bring her in the room. Ding, 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 ding. It's Sister Lakeitha McIntosh. Yeah. Hello, Lakeitha.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for allowing me to be live on your show. And it's week 15. Wow.
I know.
Yes, hard to believe. But here we are.
But here we are. So if it's week 15 of Leadership Live, this means it's always also week 15 of 2021. So I think we just, in the spirit of resilience, let's give ourselves a round of applause just for making it to week 15 of the year.
Yes.
If you're still here and you made it through 2020, let's give ourselves a round of applause. That took a special type of leadership in your own personal life and in the lives of others. For you to even be here to watch this, to sit and talk about this, to be here, it took resilience, it took strength, and it took perseverance. You had to go through some things. Because even if you didn't go through the hard go-throughs, like a lot of people went through hard go-throughs in the past couple of years, like they've lost loved ones that were in their family, some in their immediate family. They have, experienced many traumas due to the other foolishness that's been going on outside of the pandemic in the pandemic. Even if you haven't been touched by those things directly, just the changes alone in life have been enough for some people to say, I am quitting. I am quitting this thing called life. I am done. They say, oh no, let's go. We are past, let's go crazy. We just gonna let's go. But we're here.
Yes.
And so we're going to celebrate the fact that we are here.
Absolutely.
So Lakeitha, I'm going to challenge you. And I know this is a challenge. Don't get mad at me because I'm about to challenge you to do it. But I need you yourself to tell the people a little something about Lakeitha McIntosh.
Wow. Okay. So here we go. I told you raw and real tonight. Raw and real is what we're going to do. So I am Lakeitha McIntosh. I was born in Robbins, North Carolina. Now, most of you probably have never heard of that small town. So let me bring it home. Let me make it a little bit relatable for you. John Edwards is from Robbins. If anybody knows or remembers who John Edwards is, that's the only thing that puts us on the map. It's a very small little country town, about 45 to 55 miles away, about an hour drive. Very small. I grew up there, went to school there. And then after high school, graduated high school in 1992. Yes, I am dating myself. I went to UNCG, finished UNCG in 1996, studied information systems. So I was in corporate America for 11 years, working in IT. Worked for Burlington Industries and worked for Ralph Lauren up until 2009 when the recession hit and things were bad all around us. I was downsized from corporate America for the second time in 2009. So after my corporate America experience, I was self-employed, became self-employed in 2009, and I'm still self-employed today. I make soy candles for 2 hotels here in the city. And as a self-employed individual, you don't have to have, it's very wise to have multiple streams of income. So I make candles. I'm a travel agent. I'm also a life insurance agent. I do several things to keep myself afloat. So that's a little bit about me. Have 2 kids, have a 12-year-old, have a 7-year-old. I enjoy laughing, eating, running, and spending time with family and friends. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's a good story to have. Lakeitha, do you know how many things you have now gone through? How many things you have described just in those few moments to go from IT to being self-employed?
Yes.
Still being self-employed. Like, you've been self-employed like this. You're not one of the brand new self-employed type people. Like, some people just got on the self-employed train. No, baby. You have been rolling since 2021.
Yes. I started in 2009 part-time. Actually, no. Let me correct myself. Started in 2006 part-time. Went full-time in 2009.
Wow.
When Kaya was born. So I was downsized with a 2-month-old baby. Let go from corporate America, and was told that I was no longer needed when my daughter, firstborn, had her first set of shots. So talk about resilience. Very difficult moments, not really knowing how to respond, what to do. I'd just given birth, now lost a job. How do you bounce back? You got to keep it together. You have a 2-month-old who's dependent on you for everything. She's just coming into the world, so I can't fall apart.
Right.
I cannot. There were days when I felt like I was going to, but I try to teach my kids, that you have to dig deep. And when I say that, I mean, gather yourself, exhale, sit for a moment. I tend to be a busybody, always moving around, but sit, exhale, gather yourself, get your wits about yourself, and look within and decide, what do I do from here? Where do I go? What do I do? How do I get there? What does it look like? Just sometimes just the act of sitting still, because I'm used to being on the move, but sometimes just in sitting still, it's like that's a breath of fresh air. That's refreshing, just to sit for a minute and not move, not think, just to sit and be silent, which is a challenge for me. It is, but it's necessary.
Very much so. So I love, you just gave us some steps, and I want to unpack those just a little bit. But I also want to tell you, I can relate to the downsize piece. I got downsized. So you were right after you had Kaya. I was downsized. My last day on my job was the 20th. No, was it really the 23rd? But really, technically, it was the 30th. I had leave. So the 23rd of June, I had Ryan on the 19th of July. And our income went from my income, because I had a husband who was in school full time.
Wow.
And, helping as he could, but I needed him to get his degree. It was a team effort. From having that job to not having a job, and the new baby, and we already had 3 kids.
Yeah.
And I didn't find out about that downsize until I was 5 months pregnant. And I'm like, even then, who gonna employ the pregnant lady?
Yeah.
And so, decisions had to be made. But I like what you said. The first thing you told us to do was sit. as the old folks may say, is sat down somewhere.
Right. Right. And when I was carrying Kaya, not Kaya, I'm sorry, Caleb, I had a lady from church tell me, because I had my son at 39.
Mhm.
I was on the one and done plan. Kaya was going to be it, one and done and we good. But Caleb came along at 39. So I was crying and, saying, Lord, I didn't think this is what you had for me at 30. This was not my plan, Lord. This is your plan.
Right.
You have conversations with the Lord like that. You just keep it raw and real with him. He already knows anyway.
Right. He heard you talk last week. So if he hear how you talk to him today, do it with reverence, but be real.
Right. He already
Reverence,
knows.
but real. That somebody write that down and put my name next to it. That's a t-shirt.
So I was having one of them conversations with the Lord. I was crying, and this lady from the church, I will never forget it. She said, I need you to get yourself together before you bring a child here that's running around here crying all the time. You know how the church ladies do.
They said, you about to rub off on the kid. You about to do it.
Yeah. She just kept it raw and real. And I said, you know what? She is so right. She is so right. So after that, it was like a light switch turned on. And I said, again, exhale. Like I have to tell my son, exhale. Whatever's going on inside, just let it all out.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, she's right. Let me get myself together. And after that, from that moment forward, I decided, which is something else I'm going to talk about, mindset. I decided I'm going to focus on having a healthy pregnancy, because that's what I need to focus on. Not all this other nonsense. Because it was nonsense. It really was. So I focused on having a healthy pregnancy. And with both pregnancies, I exercised. I ran a 3-mile race with Kaya at 5 months, because I was a runner anyway. So that's what I did. So I ran a 3-mile race with her. That was my last one, but I ran one at 5 months. So with Caleb, with both of them, I walked. I did water aerobics. I stayed active. So with both pregnancies, I did natural childbirth, no drugs, just me and the good Lord and my body, and that's it. And Caleb was 8 pounds 6 ounces. He was a big boy.
No, we're gonna take a pause right there. We're gonna take a pause for the natural childbirth, because this starts with a slow clap. Because my God,
I got some resilience now. I have some.
Let me tell you, I was in labor with my oldest daughter for 26 hours.
Oh wow!
I thought we were gonna make it. Oh, Kilanda Makumbe said, "Did you say 10 pounds?"
No, 8'6".
8'6". Okay. So I
probably got to about 160. When I was ready to. So I wasn't. I'm not a big. I'm a small frame person. I know they can't see me, but I'm a small frame. So 8'6" for my frame. The lady in the, she was like, that's about the biggest you could do. And wow. I was like, oh, I know. Trust me, I felt every inch. I know this is it. As the song says, this is it. This is it.
This is it. Yeah. So at hour 15 of that labor, I said, I've had it. I can't do this no more. So I commend anybody who makes it through. But and Ryan came in 13 hours. But still, I had already just say at hour 8, I said, okay, that's it. I know how this can go. Yeah. I'm not fooling with this. So one, that takes a different type of resilience. I know, and different people have their different birth stories, and this is no shaming on either side of the gate.
Right.
Some people make it all the way through. Some people don't. Some people care to. Some people don't. Do you get the baby here? Get the baby here healthy. If you did that and you carried that joker for 9 to 10, or you carry them for 5 months, because babies come when they feel like it. God bless you. You brought a life into this world. You are amazing. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Because it takes resilience to carry a pregnancy. It's a blessing to be able to carry a pregnancy. But then, however you get that baby here, you get that baby here.
Right.
We are proud of you. We love you. As you can hear, there's 2 different stories to it.
Yeah, and I say to each their own. I was open to, having an epidural if I needed to go that route. I just went in with an open mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best advice I can give anybody. Keep an open mind, because you never know how it's going to go until it's go time or show time.
In my mind, I was only going to be in the hospital a few hours. My mama was in the hospital for 2 hours with me. And I said, okay, God, this is keep his legacy alive.
Well, and I have to add that in. I don't have problems during delivery. My water doesn't break until I get there. I don't have back labor. Mine goes fairly smooth. I go from 0 to 60 at home. When I get to the hospital, I'm usually 8 centimeters. So mine is a story that's not typical. I'll say that. Yeah. So, when you hear me talk about how things went, you have to hear all that. You have to hear the backstory.
Right. But I think that's when we are talking about stories of resilience, that people need to understand there's more to the story. Right. So we live in a time, as we're just thinking about that moment of the sat down. Mm-hmm. We live in a time where when we do decide to sit down, a lot of times we sit down and then look at other people's lives, because then we get on social media. We look at Facebook, we look at Instagram, or even if we look at the local TikTok or whatever you're looking at, you are looking at other people's lives and then doing a comparison, whether you decide you're really purposely doing that or not. So sometimes we need to go further than just sat down. We need to sit down and release right then. Take all that stuff and really just set it down. Set everything down. Stop talking to people. Stop listening to people. Stop reading things on your phone. Don't take a text. Don't take a phone call. Don't look at social media. Just sat down. And sat down is not sit down. It's sat down. See, sat down is stronger than sit down. If somebody tells you to sit down, you're going to sit down in your seat and you're just going to do. No, sat down means sit down, kick back your legs up. You better chill. This is a pause. Yeah. Sat down equals pause. That means stop. Sat down is equal. Oh, hold on. I'm about to go take it further. Sat down is like a selah, S-E-L-A-H. Yes. That means to stop and think. Take a moment. You can't think clearly if you're too busy, got your mind wrapped up in other people's stuff. So stop. Mm-hmm. So like right then, when you were telling your birthing story and then I told my birthing story, if I wanted to have a moment where, I felt bad about myself because I sat down and I listened to your story, then maybe I'm feeling bad about me because, no, I took the drugs, honey. I got epidurals both times. I didn't intend to, but I did. And so am I going to feel bad about my story? No, because I made it through my story. I got 2 kids here on earth that are healthy and breathing. You got 2 kids here on earth that are healthy and breathing, and they're thriving and doing what they do. We're not going, when we sat down, everybody, you're going to make a commitment today. We're going to do beyond the sit down. We're going to sit down and selah. We're going to sit down, stop, and think. Right. We're going to do all those things.
Yeah. Because you know what? I don't know, Kaya. Sorry, my daughter, Kaya, that's the one, was over there talking.
She's amazing.
So, but it's your story. That's my story. Yours is your story. And we own our stories.
Right.
And they're our stories for a reason. They're part of our purpose.
Absolutely.
If you really, again, dig deep and think about that thing, that's part of your purpose. Mm-hmm. And we don't always think about it in that detail, but it is.
And as leaders, we're supposed to have purpose and be purposeful. So if you are not going to relish in your own story, so this goes back to, and I talk about this, I'm sure it lands in every week. So when I'm talking to people and I'm working with my coaching clients, or even when I'm working in trainings of any type, I start off with that. The idea that you are all that. Capital THAT, and that stands for your total, honest, awesome truth. And all that is your story and what you're hoping your story becomes and what your story is to other people. Mm-hmm. And you're all of that. If you go with that first and you embrace that first and you accept that, because if you don't accept your story, you got a whole bunch of malarkey that's going to happen in your life. But if you are in your story, understanding your story, owning your story, and then shaping the story and how it's going to be told later, then you can truly walk in purpose. And then those in your fellowship will get it and they can walk in theirs as well. And they can choose whether or not to be a part of your story now and in the future.
Right. Yes. And
you gotta embrace it.
Yes, you do. And I mentioned mindset, a few moments ago. And I try to teach the kids about mindset a lot, because attitude is so important. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it is so important. What you decide you're going to do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I like to say it all starts with a decision. You know, I decided once I found out I was expecting with my daughter that I was going to run that 5K race.
Right.
You know, I made a decision. You know, now of course I had to ask my doctor, is it okay? You know, I didn't just go out without getting counsel.
But that's
You know,
decision with wisdom.
right, right. But but still, I had to decide that
Mm-hmm.
I was going to do this with child in tow. I knew what I
Right.
was up against. I was already a runner, so I knew how to run. But running with a child in tow is totally different. I
Right.
couldn't just take off and sprint like I might have done had I not been carrying my daughter. But still, I had to decide I am going to do this. Once I decided, then I went to get the counsel from my doctor. Is it okay? Then I had to train, I had to
Right.
prepare. So it starts with a decision.
Right.
Decide whatever it is you're going to do or not do. It could be
Well, the
the
thing is, the decision to sit down is a decision.
it is a decision. And
That's a decision.
it's a decision that takes you being intentional. For me, I'm going to
Absolutely.
bring it home to me. It takes me being intentional because a lot of times my intention is not to sit down because I'm like, oh, I got this to do and this to do. Da, 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 da. My mind is going. I have to slow my mind down in order to sit down. I'm one of these people
Mm-hmm.
whose mind just goes and goes and goes. A lot of times I can't sleep because, and the doctor has told me, you can't shut your clicker off.
Right.
Well, that's why you can't sleep at night because your mind is still, your body might be tired, but my mind is still thinking about 1,000 things.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's a decision. You have to be intentional about
But I
If
like the second. Go
if
ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, if not, are you really putting forth all the effort that you need to do just those things? If you're not intentional about it, you're not.
Right. Right.
If I'm not intentional about sitting down, I will find a way not to sit down
Absolutely.
and go do whatever. Just like for me to go get a massage, I love massage. I love it. I have to be intentional about it. I had to learn years ago, I have to make self care a priority. The things
Mm-hmm.
that I need to do to maintain a healthy body and a healthy mind, I have to make them a priority, just like I make taking care of my kids a priority, making sure they get to school on time, making sure they eat breakfast, they have baths, they're read to, played with, fed. Same, I deserve the same things, but as moms, we put ourselves last on the list.
Absolutely. And we it almost has a guilt factor to it when you
It
do put
does.
the yes.
I feel guilty sometimes going to get a massage, even though I love it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could be, you know, washing the dishes or vacuuming, whatever,
Right.
doing the laundry, cleaning the bathroom, whatever, fill in the blank. I could put anything in there for that hour and a half time slot because massage is an hour. By the time you drive 15 minutes back, it's an hour and a half.
Right.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, yes, you could. And that is truth. Yes, you could. But the thing is, you're going back to that idea of sitting down,
Yes.
having the moment, and self-care. I mean, without self-care, how can you truly be resilient?
That's true. I had to learn that though, Renita. I didn't, you know, people kept telling me, you know, you got to take care of your stuff. You got to take care of yourself. And you hear it, but until someone says you look frail, that's when
Mm-hmm.
it resonates with you.
Absolutely.
Yes. So I had to, unfortunately, it came to that for me. I didn't fall out and pass out or anything, but I heard that multiple times from multiple people. And I said, okay, time out here. So the last few years, I've been a lot more intentional about it. If it's just going, I love to take naps. If it's just going to take naps,
Honey, can we get a hand clap for the nap?
my kids know when I
A
go in my
blessing.
room and close my door, that means mommy is taking the time out.
Ooh, a nap. A nap. Look, can we go and just have a moment where we apologize to all the naps we didn't take when we were kids?
I
All
love
those naps
that.
that we shunned away. And
And a
anybody else
Sunday
there?
afternoon nap is like heavenly.
Oh, oh my good God. Oh my, but everybody out there, if you're out there and you ever remember as a child saying, I don't want to take a nap. I don't like you. I don't want to nap. I'm not sleepy. I need you right now to apologize to them naps.
Well, and
I
even
apologize to
Caleb
those naps.
has learned it's okay to lay down. Now I go lay down in my bed. You know what he does? He goes to lay down in his bed. It's a beautiful thing. Kaya will lay down in her bed. So now
My
they're
kids
learning.
still fights the naps. They still fight.
Well, he's just kind of getting to this stage where he's like, you know what? And he'll say, Mommy, I took a nap. I went to lay down. And
Good.
sometimes I try to get him to lay down just to cuddle. I'm going to my bed. Great. So,
Go to your bed, son. We
yeah,
appreciate you.
yes,
Because
yes,
my nap is totally different when it's just me.
yes, yes.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know how I got off on naps. I was talking about mindset and intentional and self-care. That's
There's self-care. But it
yes.
also helps shift your mindset because I can guarantee you that I have a different mindset when I wake up from my nap than the one I had when I went to lay down.
Oh, yes, yes,
I'm in a
yes.
totally different headspace. But it's because to me, a part of a nap, so this goes to the second thing that you brought up in your intro, you were talking about exhaling.
Mm-hmm.
A
Yes.
nap to me is an exhale. It is a
Yes.
woo-saw, and
Yes.
I'm sure it's copywritten. So I'm going to let me give credit to Bad Boys 2, where I got the woo-saw from
That's one of
originally.
my
I didn't
words.
just
Caleb has even told me recently, Mom, you need a woosah. Now that's bad when your 7-year-old tells you need a woosah.
but it's all right because that means that that franchise did a real good job. Because I tell you, the woo-saw is cultural language at this point. But to me, a woo-saw is that exhale. And so I had a friend of mine who recently went through illness, and she said that the doctors were telling her that, she was having breathing issues, and she didn't realize it. She did not know that she was having breathing issues. And it was just at the point, and the thing, it clicked to me when she said it, because I've experienced this. She didn't know that she was not exhaling. She was breathing in, but she wasn't breathing out. And it's due to the illness. I mean, that was was causing her to do it. She was getting short of breath, and she didn't know why. It's because she was not exhaling. And
Hmm.
I've had these moments where I find myself getting kind of riled up, and I'm like, and then I realized I don't know how long it had been since I exhaled.
Wow.
It takes at times some very intentional energy
Yes.
to exhale.
Absolutely.
It
Yes.
is so easy to intake.
Yes.
And you can intake and you can just start talking and doing it and running life, and you're just inhaling, and you don't realize you are having breathing issues
Mm-hmm.
until you feel like your chest is hurting, you got a headache, and then you just released.
Right. And if you think about it, during our day, our weeks, our lives, we're bombarded um, all day long, whether it's coming from
Mm-hmm.
the job, the family, the kids, the work, business, wherever, social media, all
Right.
these things are hitting us all the time.
Absolutely.
And until you are intentional and pause, like you said, pause, stop, and exhale, you have to stop that stimulation. I think
Oh,
about
that's a
my
word.
nephew. Yeah, my nephew is 3 months, and he, he can only handle so much stimulation, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or he goes into, and we have to tell the kids because they're so excited. We got a new baby in the family, and my son is 7, so he's at the age where he can really interact, you know, and talk to a baby, and he's older, so he's becoming a little more mature, and we have to tell the kids, listen, give him some space. Everybody likes to be in his face and talk to him and see his expressions and all that. We're all excited, but we have to
Right.
say, wait a minute, step back, because he can only handle so much. you
Mm-hmm.
know you might scare him, he might cry. He can't handle all that. He's not conditioned like we are to be able to handle all that coming at him all the time.
Right.
So it's a lesson for all of us to wait a minute, step back. We can still interact with him and love on him and cuddle with him, but just not all at the same time because it's too much. You
So,
know, and it's
but
too
I
much for
love
us.
the idea.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
but I
too
love
much
the
for
idea of
us.
stopping the stimulation. But that's the whole idea of if you are going to truly sit down and have that opportunity to exhale, you've got to truly sit down. You got to stop
Yeah.
the stimulation. In order to really stop and think, you got to stop the stimulation.
Mm-hmm. And I think about you know, God's word teaches us, be still. I don't know what verse it is in the Bible. Be still and know
Mm.
that I am God. You know, and that is so profound, the be still part, because we're
Right,
busybodies. We all are running here, there, and everywhere. And it's not that we aren't doing things that we should be doing. We are. We're about life, taking care of our
right.
families, doing whatever we need to do. But his word told us to be still because he knew we needed to be still.
And
And
we
he
get on one of
knew,
these.
yeah, he knew that he had to tell us because we weren't going to do it on our own. He had to tell us, make it explicit in his word, be still and know that I am God. And I'm analytical. So I will process things over and over and over and over and over in my mind. It's just how I'm wired. It's just how God made me. So for me, that be still part is just profound. You know, um, God, I trust you, regardless of what I see in the natural realm. You know, I've said this with girlfriends, with, friends and family members. Either I'm going to trust God or I'm not, period. It doesn't matter if I'm in a pandemic. It doesn't matter if I'm in a recession. It doesn't matter if life is great. If you say you trust Him regardless of
Mhm.
what you see around you.
Absolutely. So that's Psalm 46:10.
40:16. Okay. I see. I
So
hadn't
any-
prepared that. So I could have had the scripture with, but I'm going off
no,
the cuff tonight. I'm going
that's what
off the
you're
cuff.
supposed to do. But this is where these go. It's fine. But yes, I just
But
pulled it
he
up
knew
just in
that,
case
yeah.
anybody was taking notes because I know I see some people in the comments and they are note takers. So I just in case they were taking notes, we just needed to pull it up. And I
Well,
saw
Kaya
Melissa
said,
in there. I know she knows. I knew she knew.
Mama, is this recorded? That's what she was asking me a minute. Mama, is this recorded? So I'll have to go back and watch it with Kaya. So
Yes,
that's
yes,
my little
yes.
cheerleader, my baby girl. So
So
I done went all around everywhere, hadn't I?
nope, I got you. I'm bringing us back. So you have now you told us to sit down. You
Yes.
told us to exhale, and then you told us the next step was to gather yourself.
Yes. And mindset. And this is, I have to say this because I have I'm in a difficult season of life and I have been for quite some time. And during this season of life, I have realized more than ever the value of your circle. So I want to make sure and drive this point home. The value of your circle. By your circle, I mean those that support you, that encourage you. It could be the next door neighbor. It could be a coworker. It could be a family member. It could be a friend. It could be someone from high school. But it's those that support you, that encourage you, that push you, that are there when you want to have a pity party or beat yourself up, which is something that I've done.
Hmm.
And my girlfriends have said, oh, no, 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 not today. You are harder on yourself than anyone else around you.
Absolutely.
So I have really, you know, had to just think about, God, thank you so much for my circle that you have blessed me with, because they are some amazing, incredible people. When I want to just throw my hands up and say, I'm done, I am done. And
Hmm.
I've had more of those moments than I want to admit to. I'm done. And you know what they say? They reel me back in and they say, oh, no, you're not. I just had this conversation with a friend of mine a couple of days ago. And they said, but look at all the positive things that you have going on.
Absolutely.
And I said, you know what? You're right. Thank you. Thank you for dropping that in my spirit. Because right now, at that moment, I needed to hear that. And I think of myself as a positive, upbeat person, but I'm human, just like everybody else. We're all
Welcome.
human.
You
Yes,
are. We are human together. Let's be
yes,
one
we're
human.
all human.
Look at us
And
being
I tell
humans.
the kids, Mommy doesn't have all the answers. I don't. I will be the first to raise my hand and say, look, I'm figuring life out too. I've just been at it a little bit longer than you, but I'm still
Right.
figuring it out. We're
Right.
in this together. So at that moment, I was so glad to hear that, to bring me back, to again reel me in, and say, you know what? No, not today. I'm not going to sit here and listen to you have this conversation today. What I'm going to do is lift you up and say, look at what you have going on. Look at the good things that you have going on. So I am forever grateful to those that are in my circle because they are invaluable and priceless. And I tell them that all the time. I try to give people their flowers while they're living and,
Mm-hmm.
just let people know how much they mean to me. And most of the time it's just words. A lot of times it's candles because that's something I have and I can give away freely and it
And
blesses
they
people. And I love it.
smell amazing. They smell so
And you
good.
know what I like about and it's not even really about promoting my business. What it does for me is it lets me know in order for that person to light that candle, they have to stop and they have to pause in
Mm-hmm.
order to light that candle.
So
Which
that
is
candle's a part of the sit down ministry.
yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't sit down. They don't exhale. They don't take a moment just for them, just to have a chance to exhale. Even if you don't come up with some elaborate, extravagant plan, but the fact that you just sat down and paused from whatever activity you were involved in before you sat down is progress.
Right.
So I know if I bless someone with a candle and if they intend to light that candle, they have to pause. They have to go and find a match or a lighter. They have to be intentional because the candle is not going to light itself. Even if you're going to put it on a warmer, you still got to have the warmer there and have it plugged up. So you have to take a moment to pause, to be intentional, to light the candle. And then most of the time, if you light the candle, you're going to enjoy the ambiance that comes along with it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
strategic. It's strategic. So for me, it's more about that than any business that could ever come from it. If business never comes from it, that wasn't the my intention in giving it to people. I give
Right.
it to them to help them to relax and just
Exhale.
woosah, exhale, take a load off. Kaya even burns candles. She will even light candles in her room because she likes it. And sometimes they're mine, sometimes they're not. But she enjoys lighting candles because she knows at 12 that it's important to pause and to just lay in her room and just whatever, journal or color, whatever, draw, whatever she does in there. Kaya has 10 birds, so that's her therapy. But that's a whole nother story. But I enjoy giving them to bless others. It's so much more about the blessing in it
Yeah.
than about any material gains that could ever come from it.
That's so good. But I like your point too about your village. So you're blessing them, you're giving them a pause, you're handing them an exhale, you're starting this process for them because I really believe that this is a 4-step process that you described, which is why I wanted you to break it down this way. But
And
then
I don't even have the 4 steps written down, so I'm going to watch the replay.
it's all right. I got them for you. I'm gonna list them. Don't think I won't. I got you
Good. I'm so glad. Teamwork makes the dream work, Renita.
every time. And just so you know, that is our soft skill of the month with Dr. Renita. It is teamwork.
Oh wow. Yes, we've
And it
been
is. Which is
saying it around the house. I have to get the kids on board, but yeah, I have just just the last few years just really it's resonated within my soul the importance of your village.
Mhm.
You know, and God places people in our lives for a reason. I heard someone say, or either I read it, I can't remember, that people are in our lives for either a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Lifetime. Absolutely.
So and it's such a beautiful thing. It really is. And God, my dad tells me God knows what we need. He knows what we need. And if a person can feel that need, he'll place a person in your life. you know If it's something else, he'll place that in your life, whatever it is. And he'll meet us right where we are. That's such a beautiful, whether we're, you know, raggedy or we feel like we have it all together, or we're somewhere in between. Most of us are somewhere in between. I feel like I'm at the raggedy end right now, but wherever we are, God will meet us where we are because he already knows. Right. We don't have to pretend like we're something that we're not. He knows anyway. He created us. He knows. So we can come to him humbly, and submissive and say, and I was just, I went to see my dad yesterday and just driving back up the road, I was just kind of just thinking and, processing some things. And, we can come to him as we are.
In our pieces.
Right. We don't have to try to clean ourselves up and pretend like we're something that we're not, because he already knows. We could spend that time and that energy just coming to him humbly and be a lot further along than trying to,
be clean when we get there.
Yeah.
But, so I had a very wonderful conversation with Leslie Robinson this past week for Mirror Image for the Refining Life. And she talked about we are masterpieces. God made us masterpieces, and we need to allow him to master the pieces.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. But also, so it also connects to your idea of gathering yourself. But I like just the idea of gathering. And you talked about a village. I'm a villager. I love villaging. I think to me, there is a verb to it. I village and villaging. I'm village minded. And yet it's something, something else I'm working on. And I've been working on for a few years.
It's action. Your village is action. It's right. People in motion and in action. And I want to say this before I forget this. So I have this blanket up behind me, which is the peace sign. And I put this blanket up just kind of as a reminder to me to be at peace, not to be of course I have things that I'm worried about and that I'm concerned about, but it was just kind of a visual reminder to be at peace. And if again, going back to what I said earlier, if I trust God, then I can be at peace. Because my battles belong to him anyway. They're not mine. I need to release them and leave them with him so that I can be at peace and God can handle all this other stuff. All the stuff that would consume my mind. Yeah.
Right. But sometimes he sends the villagers when you're villaging intentionally to help gather those pieces together, even when you feel foolish, to help you have peace. So to your point about villaging, or not to villaging, your point to gathering yourself, but sometimes you have to have someone else help you gather yourself, because yourself is at that point in pieces, and your village, your people around you can help you do that. They can help you pick up the pieces that you need to pick up. So when I spoke to, I think it was Melissa Jordan about week 11ish, we were talking about, demolishing these thoughts and ideas we have about ourselves, things that, that these things that have been built up, and demolishing and then picking from the rubble what we needed to pick up to gather to start to build again. And sometimes our village are those people who help remind us, girl, put that piece down. You don't need that. Oh, honey, pick that up. I'm gonna hold these pieces for you. You got them pieces over there. All right, we're gonna put them together when we get to the house. Because that's what villagers do. A lot of times they'll help pick up your pieces. They'll help you gather yourself. And then there was also Sarah Jakes Roberts did a sermon. I cannot remember what the topic was, but I just remember this moment. She said, she's talking about the people coming at her, saying things about her husband, whatever, whatnot. But she said, I need some people who will gather. I need some people who will gather, because they'll gather some people up and say, excuse me, not today, Satan. No, you won't say that. I just went down. She said, honey, if you can gather, I need you. I need a gatherer. And sometimes we need people to gather other people together that just have that moment with them to say, baby, you're not doing that today. You can go on somewhere with that. Exit, stage left.
Right.
So sometimes we need people to gather things up, help us gather those pieces and help us pick and choose from the rubble. But
Yeah,
sometimes we need people to gather those thoughts up and say, exit stage left. Gather
yeah,
those people who are naysayers and say, exit stage left. We need some gatherers to help us gather ourselves so we
yeah.
can get to this fourth step. But I love that. So, honey, I am so village minded. Now, once again, that's a trademark. I'm working on it. I'm village minded because, and which is why to me it changed my whole leadership life, because I am so village minded. My leadership style, one, I'm a servant leader. Two, I believe that we have to village. We got to all do this together. Teamwork truly makes the dream work,
Yeah.
and we are a village. And if we need to help gather some different pieces, or we put our piece in the puzzle, village, we got to do this. And so that changed my leadership.
Oh, wow. That's
When I
awesome.
started authentically leading like I am, by the time I got to my principalship, honey, she was authentic. And when we walked in that door, we were walking in as a village.
Yes,
When
I
I
love
walked
it.
out that door, honey, part of that village left because the village changed.
Ah, yes, and your circle. Yes, you know, um, as you mature and as you move to different seasons in life, it will change. It ebbs and flows. It's um, getting back to people enter our lives for either a season, a reason, or a lifetime. So some people aren't meant to go with you from start to finish. Some people are meant to go with you from start to maybe a fourth of the way in, or from start to half of the way in. And some people are meant to come in at the middle when you feeling like you might be running out of gas. And I'll give an example of a marathon. I ran a marathon years ago, and whew, talk about a village. A marathon is 26 miles. I don't know how many runners are watching, but it is 26 miles. Yes, I did say 26 miles. So again, I made a decision. It was a goal of mine to run a marathon. Now, I didn't run all 26 miles, but you have to go from mile 0 to mile 26 to complete the marathon, whether you walk the whole thing or whether you run 3/4, or you got to get from mile 0 to mile 26. So I made a decision to run the marathon. So that was the first step, making the decision. Well, then I had to get shoes. I had to make sure I had the proper equipment on my feet that would endure that 26-mile trek. So I went to get fitted for shoes. Then I had to develop or either develop my own training plan or use someone else's training plan. I might have done a combination. I don't think I developed it. I think I probably used someone else's. So then I had to come up with my training plan. I had to figure out when I was going to run, where I was going to run, how I was going to run. Was I going to run in the mornings? Was I going to run midday? Was I going to run at night? For me, if I don't exercise in the morning, I'm not going to exercise. So I have to do it first thing, which is usually, now that I have kids, especially, it has to be done in the morning, because in the afternoon is kids' activities or something I might have to do. But prior to that, I could do a Saturday run, or I might could do an evening run. But now that kids have come along, it's a totally different story. So I had to decide when I was going to run. Then I had to decide, was I going to run by myself? Was I going to train by myself? Was I going to recruit running buddies to train with me? I was a first-time marathoner, so I didn't need to do all of this by myself. I needed the experience, the knowledge, the know-how of those that had done this before me. So I recruited friends to run with me in preparation for the marathon. Typically, you don't run the entire 26 miles before race day. You just don't go full out. You don't exert all your effort. So for me, I did, and I'm a rebel. I'll be the first to say I'm a rebel. I don't typically do things by the book. I typically go against the grain, just how I'm wired. So I'm a rebel. So being that I'm a rebel, I'm not going to take 6 months to train for a marathon. I probably did it in about 3. I don't recommend that, but that's me and that's my lifestyle, and that's where I am, where I was at the time. So, or maybe 4, but I definitely didn't do 6. So I increased, again, this was by the grace of God that I didn't have an injury. I didn't get hurt. He definitely was with me during all this training. So I increased my mileage 3 miles per week. Again, I don't recommend that. That's not the right thing to do. You need to pace yourself. But because I wasn't going to train 6 months and I was going to shorten this time frame from 6 months down to 4 months, shaving off a full 2 months, I did what I had to do. Thank God, his grace and mercy, and he extended his provision without me getting an injury. I was fine. I don't recommend that for anybody. So I would go from, let's just throw out some numbers here. I would run 11 miles. The next week, I would bump that up to 14. The next week, I would bump that up to 17. The next week, I would bump that up to 20. Again, I'm a rebel, not what I should have been doing. Thank God that I was able to do it and without having an injury. So I ran 20 miles prior to running my marathon. So when it came down to marathon day, I still had another 6 miles that I had not ran, to complete a full 26 miles. But if you can run 20, what's another 6? You already got 20 under your belt. So that was a monumental task. I want to do it again. I don't know if I will. My knees are, they're not in the shape they once were, but I'm proud to say that I accomplished that. When I crossed that finish line, I felt like I could conquer the world, and here's a little sneaky thing that they do. So it's 26 miles. So you get to, I guess, mile 26. So you're getting close to, the end. You're at mile 25. You get to mile 26. And then you still have to go the 0.2. So it's actually 26.2 miles. So you can't stop at 26. Oh, no, they have to add that 0.2. I don't know who came up with that. But you still got to get that 0.2 before you cross that finish line and before you can say, doggone it, I did the doggone thing. And that's about what I said when I crossed. Whose idea was that? As if 26 isn't enough. No, you have to do the 0.2.
But let me tell you though.
Oh, and this is what I wanted to say about the marathon. So the entire race is 26.2 miles. Well, at about mile 16 to mile 18, you hit the wall.
Yeah.
What that hitting the wall entails, your body feels like I just can't go. I can't go another half mile. I can't go another quarter of a mile. I can't. Your body is just, it's about ready to just give up the ghost and say, I'm done. But you got to get to mile 26. So what do? What happens at that point? At that point, it becomes mind over matter because your body is ready to give up. But your mind has to kick in and say, oh, no. As my little 7-year-old says, we got to keep pushing. We got to keep pushing. So when you hit that wall, and that's life. We feel like we hit a wall sometimes, right?
A lot of times.
Right. A lot of times. We just want to say, I'm done. My son will tell me sometimes, I'm done. Just like that. I'm done. I am done. So then when he says that, you know what I say? I remind him of his own words. Oh, no, we got to keep pushing.
Keep pushing. But that right there, when you have hit the wall, yes, and you take that motto, we're going to keep pushing, that is resilience.
Yeah.
And as leaders, as business owners, as ministry leaders, as educators, all of which are leaders, that we all hit that wall. As corporate America professionals, as entrepreneurs, as people trying to still figure it out and making it do what it do, whatever situation you are in, everybody gets to the point where the wall, boom, they hit it. And sometimes you hit that wall and you did not see it coming. Like you were running with your head down or running with your head up so high. You are not looking right in front of you and you run into the wall, which reminds me of those silly, crazy Windex commercials. Sometimes it just slams into that because the window's so clean. They think they can fly right on through. Boom.
Yes.
Happens to us. Sometimes we do not. It looks crystal clear.
Right.
And we smack that wall so hard. But the question is, okay, so now what are you going to do? Right. What you desire, what you're trying to get to is just on that other side. And that's when you can go through this 4-step process real quick. You got to sit down. You got to exhale, gather yourself, and make a decision. Yes. Now what are we going to do?
Yes. When I'm cold natured, anyone that knows me will tell you that I'm cold natured. I always have a jacket. I'm in full long sleeves in here right now. I am very cold natured. So as God, God has a sense of humor. So the day I ran my marathon, I ran it in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina in February. It was 26 degrees.
Oh, how fitting.
Oh yeah. I'm telling you, God has a sense of humor. He said, "Oh, I got you. You want to run a marathon? I got you. How bad do you want to run this marathon? I'm going to fix you up real good." So, as is typical of me, I had on about 5 layers because
That's
I
all.
had to run 26 miles. And the race might have started at 8 o'clock, let's just say. Took me 5 hours to run it. So, finished about 1. It literally took me 5 hours and 5 minutes. Don't forget the
But see,
5
you said that like that's a long time. Honey, do you know how long it takes me to do 1 mile of life? You're talking about 26.2 and 5?
But that is a long time.
That is a long way.
Yeah, yeah, yes. It's long any way you look at it. It's a long
Pause
time.
for perspective. As a lot of times we think about in life where that we things that we do that are small feats, like I took my daughters to do XYZ and they did it. Well, people look at me like, you what? I was like, well, all we did was. So let's have a moment for all I did was run 26.2 miles in 5 hours. Oh, that was such a long time. Oh, if I was doing 26.2 miles, I would take me 5 days, maybe 5 years minimum.
So, now that I did that, prior to having my baby. So now I want to do another one post babies to prove to myself that I can do it after, having those 2 jokers. So we'll see. The jury is still out on whether I'm going to, because I'm much older now than, Kaya's 12. So, you can do the math real quickly and say, I'm much older now than I was then. And I'm not running now like I was then. That's the other thing. So we'll see. We'll see. I think it's still in me, but we'll see. My knees are running it beats your body up like you could never imagine. I mean, all the pounding on your joints and your muscles, and it's just pound, pound, pound. And doing that for, doing it on race day is one thing, but all the preparation leading up to that. So that really is a lot of pounding and a lot of tearing down your body, So I have to see if I have to see if it's truly worth it or not. I could definitely do a half marathon, but we'll see.
But I'm going to tell you, I compared that to our different places in life. Some of us are at couch and chilling, feet up. Some of us are, maybe standing up more often. Some of us are at walk stage. Some of us might be at a fast walk. Some of us might be even at a fast walk to a jog. And some of us are in marathon sprint spaces. And, different life things take different tolls on our body, on our mind, on our spirit. But then the question is, what are we going to do when we get to mile 16 doing what we do?
When you hit the wall, yes.
When you hit the wall, because you're going to hit the wall in life. You're going to hit the wall as a CEO. You're going to hit the wall as an entry-level position person. You're going to hit the wall as a person who just lost their job. You're going to hit the wall as a stay-at-home mom. You're going to hit the wall as a stay-at-home dad. You're going to hit the wall as a military professional. You're going to hit the wall.
Yeah. Well, think about where we are. We're in a pandemic. We have hit the wall. We have hit the wall. Just think about where we are. We hit the wall. Whether you want to admit to hitting the wall or not, we hit the wall. All of us. No one saw this coming.
It was that Windex window.
Yeah, no one saw this coming. We might have thought, something might happen, but no one saw it coming to the degree that we're in it now.
Right.
No one saw it to this degree. No one. I think I can be pretty certain in saying no.
I think even researchers who thought they predicted it, I don't know that they predicted it at this moment. And maybe when they first found out, they were like, "Ooh."
Right. No one expected us to be a year in and still be where we are. I think I can be certain and say that. So we've hit the wall. And whether, we realize or want to acknowledge that we've hit the wall, we hit the wall. And I think it shifted us all in some way, shape, or form. It could have been a good shift. It could have been a turbulent shift. It could have been a bad shift. But we've all shifted. in some
Yeah.
way, shape, or form. So
And
we've
our
all,
resilience has had to chime to
I
show
was gonna, I was gonna say,
this is
so we've
it.
all had to develop some resilience just to still be here today.
Absolutely.
Just to still be here today. So can we all give ourselves a hand clap for being resilient enough to still be here? You know, I
Yeah.
say to people sometimes, every day above ground is a good day.
It's another chance.
Yeah, because and I've had some people say, well, we don't know. Well, I'm not trying to find out before God calls my number.
Hello,
Okay?
somebody.
Because he hasn't called my number, so that means he still has purpose. So I'll find out about the other side when he calls my number.
I'm not gonna call it for him.
Right, and not prematurely. So
But the thing is, but even that decision, because I'm gonna tell you, there's some dark, dark times in life, and it's hard to be resilient enough or find the resilience to say I'm not gonna call that number first.
oh, and I've had those thoughts. I'll be completely transparent. I've had those thoughts and said,
Honey,
you know, uh, well, I've had them. I've been there. And again,
you are not
that's why I hit on my village so hard, because my
the
village,
gatherers.
my village has had to say, oh no, oh no. My
Hello.
aunt had to tell me one time, don't ever lose hope. There was a time when I just felt hopeless, like, and I believe in God. I know who he is. I know what he can do. I know what he's done in my life. But again, I'm human, and I
Right.
have to deal with my human side,
Right.
And my aunt said, don't ever lose hope. And I was so glad she was there to, again, reel me back in and say, no, 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 baby, don't ever lose hope. If you lose hope, that's all you have. So don't
Right.
ever lose hope. And that's why I hit on that village, because it's so vital that we love on people, that we appreciate people, that we acknowledge what they do, what they mean to us, because they can be gone at the snap of a finger. And then it's
Absolutely.
too late to tell them. It's too late
Right.
at that point. And you don't want to deal with grief and the fact that you could have, should have done something that you didn't do, because we procrastinate. And I'm a procrastinator. As you know, it took me a long time to get you my stuff for this. But life is short. Whatever we want to do, whatever we aspire to do, we need to do it. A lady told me today, I was so inspired by her. She is 70, looks absolutely amazing. And she said she has just met a friend. They've been together for a year now. And she said her mom had just celebrated her 101st birthday, I guess like a year ago. And she said her mom told her that she was not going to leave this earth until she found somebody for her daughter, because apparently her daughter has made some bad decisions, like we all have. But mom told her that I'm not leaving until I find somebody for you. So 2 months after, now she met her friend. She met her friend in the airport. She lives in Atlanta. Now she lives here. Well, still has a house in Atlanta, but lives here with her friend. And she said 2 months after she met her friend, her mom passed away. She met him in the airport after she was coming back from her mom's celebration of her 101st birthday. 2 months later, her mom was gone. And
Wow.
she said she talked about how happy she was, how she traveled. She said, I try to take a vacation a month. She was a retired educator. She taught for, I think, 30 years. She's been retired for 15 years. She still has her health. She was talking about traveling and booking cruises and just happy, and she was like, I finally, found someone who opens the door for me, who treats her nice, and her mom, she had peace because her mom was able to see that what her mom wanted,
Came to pass.
I've heard people, often say that they won't I guess make peace within themselves about leaving this earth until XYZ happens, until they know that their child is okay, or and it sounds like that's exactly what her mom did. So she was, I'm sure she misses her mom, but she's happy because her mom is, her mom lived to be 101. What a blessing.
What a
And
blessing.
now she has somebody to share her life with. Her mom is gone, but she has somebody to share her life with who has just completed her. And I was just like, wow, that is such an inspiration.
It
Such
sure
an
is.
amazing story. She was smiling and she was happy. And I was just kind of like, wow, that was so refreshing to hear. I don't know why I got to talk about all that, but just,
But that's okay.
it was
That was
on my heart and on my mind. Hope. I was talking about hope.
oh,
Yes.
but I will tell you that and we have expired our time, but I do want that was a good story, so I didn't want to stop it. But resilience comes with hope.
Yes.
If
Yes.
we don't have hope, then our resilience doesn't really have an opportunity to flourish. So I'm going to give these 4 points, and then we're going to say goodbye because I try to keep these at an hour because I know people get tired of seeing and hearing from me until the next
Oh, I'm
week.
so sorry. I'm a talker.
Oh, it's totally okay. You doing what you're supposed to do. We do good. It's not the first time we've been over. But I will say this. So we talked about the 4 steps to resilience, which are 1, sit down, stop, think. 2, exhale. 3, gather yourself, even with assistance. If it's coming from your village and from God, you probably got 2 good partnerships to
Mm,
get yourself together. And
yes.
then 4, make a decision. So, Lakeitha, you have given us some wonderful steps to resilience. We understand that with hope, resilience has a chance to flourish. And I think that you've given us a good pathway to follow as we are looking towards becoming more resilient leaders in our life and in our business. So, Lakeitha, I want to say thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you
you. This was fun.
so
I'm so
much.
excited.
And see, she was another one of my people who was real hesitant when I was like, come on and do it. She was like, you sure? And I said, yeah. And now y'all see. You see, everybody out there sees. You see why I asked her to do it. That right there.
Well, I have the gift of gab. I'm still trying to figure. I'm going to capitalize on my gift of gab. I just don't quite have it all figured out yet. So maybe we can collaborate.
I got you. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining us for week 15 of Leadership Live. You'll see me again next Monday night at 9 o'clock with another amazing friend of mine. But Lakeitha, you have been amazing, and we appreciate your time this evening. Everyone else, see you next week. Bye.
Yay!